What's going on, everyone? Alex De Silva, happy as Larry Group. I hope you are well, and welcome to another daily dose of happiness and another self-care episode. And today I want to talk to you guys about compassion. And compassion is a very interesting word, because when you think about it, everybody says, well, I have compassion, I have compassion for other people. Hello, Mrs. Lucy De Silva. Good to see you here, as always, supporting. And it's so nice to I used to think, yeah, definitely, I'm so compassionate. Hello, Mikey, good morning. I had so much compassion for other people, and I was always thinking of others, and I thought, I'm definitely a very compassionate person. But what can I get from it? What can I get from it? What's in it for me? That's the compassion I used to have. And I used to think, I'm always up for helping other people, but there's got to be something in it for me. And it's so interesting because I still see it today. I still see, what's going on in social media at the moment. I still see, what's going on out in the world at the moment. And as much as we see compassion, there is always an agenda. There is always something behind that. And I'm not talking from like a conspiracy place, because that's not where it's coming from. I'm talking more from actions and behaviors. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Compassion is such a beautiful thing to have. Love, kindness, compassion, tolerance. These are four things which come up consistently in Buddhism, in their daily practice. And it's phenomenal that when I started to kind of study that a little bit, and I started to learn from a Buddhist monk about, meditation, and started to learn about love, kindness, and compassion, and tolerance, and what that meant. And also work in a 12-step program. As many of you know, I'm in recovery, so I work a 12-step program, and he talks about the 12th step is about helping other people, and he talks about having compassion. And even in that book, the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it talks about it on there quite often, about being of service to others, helping other people. And I started to see entrepreneurs now talking about, helping others, being there for other people, and having compassion, for others. But it's easier said than done. And here's the thing where it is easier said than done. Why? Because we have a judgmental mindset. We do. It just is what it is. The society that we live in, unfortunately, has put us in a position where we put ourselves on pedestals. So often or not, we look at people and we think, wow, look at him and look at her. And we put ourselves in these pedestals thinking that we're above everybody else. So where is the compassion there? And that's the key element here, because I started to see now over the last couple of weeks, as we're going through this stuff and as we're being quarantined and things are starting to change, and I've seen some of the posts online, and I'm thinking, wow, where's the compassion now? All of a sudden, we're ripping into people, and we're ripping into politicians, and we're ripping into everybody else, and everybody's all of a sudden wrong, and everybody are morons, and we start calling people names. I'm thinking, wow, some of you are, every other post is our compassion, love, and let's be happy, and da-da-da-da-da, but all of a sudden you're now slating people. Where's the compassion there? And that's what I wanted to talk about. Self-care is about having compassion. Have compassion for yourselves first. Self-care. Compassion has to start with you. And if you have self-compassion, you will not behave in that way when it comes down to other people. So I have to be mindful, always put my hand up first, and when I talk about these things, and Lucy knows sometimes, I can get a little bit judgmental, especially when I'm watching programs on ITV2, which shall not be named. Sometimes I do get a little bit judgmental, and that just is what it is, But what I do now, and Lucy's great with this as well, is she turns to me and says, well, that's not very compassionate, is it? That's not very mindful. And then I laughed to myself and I said, actually, yeah, you're right. Because I am judging, some of these people's behaviors. So I'm not speaking from a pedestal. I'm sat with my feet very firmly on the ground here. And the reason I'm sharing that is because of that personal experience, is being honest about it and saying, I sometimes do this as well, even today. And unless you are Buddha and you're completely enlightened, well, we are all going to do it. Sometimes it happens, but here's the thing. The most beautiful thing about it is if you can walk away without judgment, without, criticism about yourself, and then realize where you made that mistake, and you can then rectify that moving forward, that's where you grow. And again, it's not all of a sudden you're going to become enlightened and you're never going to judge or say something bad or make a joke about somebody. It happens, and we all do. And sometimes, we do it because we just want to pass the day. And sometimes we do it amongst each other and with friends and so on and so forth. And there are tons of memes out there which, completely kill me. It really makes me laugh. So it's not like, let's all be, very la-di-da. That's not the case, because life is about experiencing. And I talk about that quite a lot. Experiencing life is what makes us stronger every single day. I'll repeat that. Experiences in life is what makes us stronger every single day. But it's learning from those lessons. That's the takeaway. I always say this: learn, grow, and develop from it. But it starts with self-care, and compassion is one of them. Compassion is about having compassion for other people, but if you can learn to have that about yourself and understand areas that we need to learn, grow, and develop, well, that's compassion. I have compassion for myself because I know that I'm not perfect. I am far from that. But what I am is I am intelligent enough to be able to say, okay, do you know what? I need to stop doing that, because one, it doesn't make me feel very good, because often I do feel guilty about it. And I try to change slowly every single day. And listen, every tiny little bit of change that we make in our lives, the growth from that long term is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So it's not like all of a sudden, right, let's practice this and we're all going to become, enlightened. I hear people saying, I've awakened. No, you haven't. You got out of bed, yeah, absolutely, but you haven't. Unless you are Buddha, or unless you have found enlightenment, which even, the Buddhist monk, which I've been learning from, the guy's been doing it for over 30 years, since he was the age of 11, probably longer now, and he hasn't. So that just goes to show, it's a very rare thing. And I think sometimes people think that that's what we need to reach, and it's not. It's just the simple experiences every single day. And compassion is about that. And having compassion to what people are doing at the moment, having compassion for the decisions that are being made. They're not going to make every single one of us happy. It's not going to be to everybody's taste. But remember, look at your behaviors, before you go out on, social media and start calling people morons and idiots and this and that. I hope people catch the coronavirus. I'm like, really? Do you really want people to catch the virus? And this is some of the comments that I'm starting to see out there. You have to remember one thing, which I always tell myself, because sometimes I want to jump in that ring, and I want to start saying, who the hell do you think you are? Why are you saying that to people? But then that just makes me just as guilty. So, I made a joke the other day where I said, people keep posting, where people are out in the park and, and they see tons of people sit out on the street and they're going and they're taking pictures and they're going, oh, look at these morons and look at these people. But I'm like, is it just me, or you're just as guilty as they are because you're there? So how does that even make sense? If you're there, you're just as guilty. You're at the scene of the crime. But it's almost like other people then turn around and says, yeah, look at them. And then everyone then starts judging, completely forgetting that the bigger picture is that we are all allowed to make mistakes. We're all allowed to live life. We're all grown-ups. The people that we need to care for are our little ones. They're the ones that we need to teach, and they're the ones who look up to us. They're constantly watching us. I see it with Ruby. I even see it with Maddie. They are constantly watching what we do and how we behave, the things that we say. So be mindful, be compassionate around this stuff, and understand we live still in a very free world. We are allowed to do whatever we want, and as human beings, we have such thing as free will. So if people choose and decide that they want to go out and surround themselves with each other, then that's okay. It just is what it is. We can't do anything about that. But you have to understand that you have to have compassion for those people. And what I tend to do is I always pray and just speak to the world and just say, do you know what? Let's keep all of these people happy. If anything, if this is a positive thing that's happening, well, let's just make sure that we all get better. Let's just make sure that this is, we're going to get through this. And actually, we can go out and start hanging around with each other again. Who doesn't want to do that? Who doesn't want to surround themselves with people again? I can't wait to give friends a hug. I can't wait to go back to the gym. I can't wait to see clients. I can't wait to go and meet people and go and have a coffee, sit in a restaurant, be able to do normal things. Who doesn't want to do that? But here's the thing, we've been put into so much fear now over the last couple of months, and because we've been isolated, what's been happening is that fear now has grown so much. People are scared of stepping outside the front door, and you have to just be calm and understand that it's okay. Like, we're gonna get through this, and we'll get through this by doing the right thing, having the right energy, having love and compassion towards ourselves first. Because when you love yourself and you have that self-care, then that stuff just ripple effects out there into the world, and you start to see things differently, and you start to understand that actually we can do whatever we want as long as we're following the guidelines. And sometimes I look at those pictures and I say, well, it seems to me that people are in pockets together, and people are still social distancing. So a lot of the times, we went to the park on Saturday. It was beautiful weather. The four of us were in a little place. There was no one around us. People were walking up and down. We were walking around the park, and it was beautiful because everyone was saying good morning to each other. Everyone was saying hello, and it was like it was just a beautiful atmosphere. It was really, really nice, and people actually kept social distancing. It wasn't packed, but people were still respecting that. And it's just understanding a picture doesn't tell a full story. So be very mindful around that stuff. So practice compassion today. As always, thank you for watching, leaving your likes and your comments. Have an amazing day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And as always, I cannot stress it enough, be great, be fantastic, and be absolutely phenomenal today. And I will speak to you again very soon. Take care.